The evening air hung heavy with the scent of vintage wine and expensive tobacco, a refined atmosphere that served as the perfect backdrop for George Weatherly to host his guest, Colby Lassiter. They sat in the comfortable study, the ticking of the antique grandfather clock providing a rhythmic pulse to their conversation. Colby had been relentless in his pursuit of investment advice, specifically regarding the lucrative potential of California vineyards near Calistoga. As he spoke, he poured the cognac, his movements smooth and practiced. George, feeling the pleasant lethargy of a man well-fed and well-wine, felt his eyelids grow heavy. The transition was subtle. One moment, George was nodding at the prospect of a triple return on investment within 5 years, and the next, the world seemed to tilt into a dreamless void. Colby waited, his eyes flicking toward the man he had carefully lulled into a drug-induced stupor. Satisfied that his guest would not be waking anytime soon, Colby stood up. He moved with the precision of a man who had choreographed this performance down to the second. He slipped out of the room, leaving behind the ticking clock and the sleeping man, his heart hammering against his ribs as he moved through the shadows of the house. The heist itself was a masterpiece of careful planning. Colby reached the study of the house, where the precious Exeter diamond was kept. He had known exactly where it was, thanks to his intimate knowledge of George's affairs. With the diamond secured, he retreated, only to be momentarily rattled by the unexpected presence of a security guard. A brief, violent struggle ensued, and before the guard could raise an alarm, the man lay still, silenced by his own weapon. Colby did not linger. He slipped back to his house, arriving just in time to receive the call from the answering service, playing the part of the shocked host as he informed George of the tragedy. The following morning, Barnaby Jones, a man whose quiet demeanor belied a razor-sharp intellect, stood in the center of the crime scene. He observed the details that the police had overlooked. He noted the way the thief had navigated the room, the lack of forced entry, and the eerie silence of a room that should have been guarded. Barnaby knew that the Exeter was not merely a rock, it was a curse that had brought death to its latest owner. He began to trace the threads, meeting with contacts, listening to the rumors on the street, and slowly building a profile of a man who was not a professional criminal, but an amateur with high stakes and a desperate need for capital. Back at the Lassiter estate, the tension was palpable. Claire, Colby's wife, had returned from a trip in Switzerland, unaware of the chaos that had unfolded in her absence. She found her husband, a man who seemed to be fraying at the edges. When she confronted him about the sudden appearance of the diamond, he could no longer keep up the facade. He confessed, painting a picture of a man driven by love and a desire to provide her with a life of luxury, despite the blood that now stained his hands. He spoke of the diamond cutter, a Frenchman named Marcel, who had attempted a double cross, and of the man named Kurt, a former flame of Claire's who had followed them from Europe and was now intent on his own piece of the prize. Barnaby's investigation led him to a small, unassuming restaurant, Le Pomerol. There, he encountered the former diamond cutter, a man of bitter pride who had been cast aside by the industry. Through his interactions with the man, and the subsequent discovery of the Frenchman's unfortunate fate, Barnaby confirmed his suspicions. The thief was not a ghost. He was a man within their own social circle. The pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place. The drugged cognac, the tampered clock, the strategic use of an emergency exit to bypass security. The final act played out at an abandoned farmhouse on a desolate stretch of road. Barnaby, acting as the intermediary for the insurance company, found himself face to face with Colby and Claire. The air was charged with anticipation as the exchange was set to take place. Kurt, the vengeful shadow, had arrived, determined to intervene, but he was silenced by the realization that he was out of his depth. Colby, cornered and desperate, attempted to make his final stand, holding a weapon and demanding the payment for his ruinous prize. Barnaby, however, remained unfazed. He spoke with the calm of a man who had seen it all before, dismantling Colby's plan piece by piece. He revealed how the small details, such as the unclipped cigar, had been the undoing of a man who thought he was smarter than the world. The police, tipped off by Barnaby's careful orchestration, descended upon the scene, ending the charade. As the handcuffs were clicked into place, the weight of the moment settled over them all. It was the end of a grand ambition that had been built on deceit and tragedy, a stark reminder that even the most meticulously planned lives could unravel in the face of truth and the quiet, persistent pursuit of justice. The Exeter was recovered, but the lives involved were changed forever, a sobering lesson on the true cost of greed and the fragility of the foundations upon which we build our happiness.